Hello, everyone, and welcome to another installment of TED Excellence, the show in which the third rail is not a reference to cocaine. And I come to you live from my Corona bunker on the moon with Dogcat Fox, a Pepperjack, and joining me today for only the second time in TED Excellence history, Sinatra says.
Hello.
Hello, Sinatra. How are you doing today?
I'm not too shabby. How are you, Scribe?
Well, I've been able to cut out of work a little early today in preparation for the madness that will be tomorrow with the month end. And here I am to let off a little steam on a train.
All right. I like a train.
Do you?
Mm-hmm.
And behind a wedding gown?
I thought Gasly was the only one who put trains on the moon with the hype train.
Oh, wait, he gets trains on my moon?
The moon.
Wrong pronoun. But hello, everyone. Hope you're all having a good Thursday. It is Train Thursday. It doesn't quite come off the tongue the same way as something like Tempestuous Thursday or something, but I do my best. Let's see who is joining us for this adventure today. That'd be Jaeger Pony, hello. Matt Barnes, hello. Wade Waleson, hello. St. Michael, hello. Debate Fly, hello. John Miller, hello. Sabian 187, hello. Sean Uli, hello. Zalbla, hello. Jeannie Melquist, hello. Mr. E, hello. Kieverdam, hello. Bruno Montiero, hello. And Corey Suzuki, hello. Birgid, hello. Swirl Blue, hello. Dark Resurrect, hello. Old Man Enfield, hello. Brittany Holland, hello. Eric Grunstadter, hello. Ectothermic Mercenary, hello. Hi, M. Steve, hello. Deco, hello. Random American, hello. Austin P, hello. Ryan R, hello. And then the chat jumped because the person did. Robert Pincus, hello. Redneck Ram, hello. Scanner Daffy, hello. Attack Alpaca, hello. Poker, hello. Rotten Corpse, hello. Jonathan Peterson, hello. Mr. Tickle Trunk, hello. Roger Reynolds, hello. Gwen Plain, hello. And I'm sure I missed one or two in there. Doe Fruit Zero, hello. But if I missed you, I apologize. We have to move on because it's important that we get to this because it's important.
It's not saying hi to you time.
That's right. It's me and Sinatra time.
Yeah, mine and Scribe's very, very necessary bonding time.
Bondage. I mean, ding. Mm-hmm. So I have it on good authority, Sinatra, that you are an appreciator of politics.
I have been known to get political from time to time.
Yes, so when I was considering which of the several different TEDx's to select for our little get-together, I had a lot to choose from. Boy, it was a tough call. There were a couple I was like, maybe this one. Do I want an absolute freak show? And then I saw this, Talking Politics from the Dinner Table to the New York City Train. And I was just like, okay, I don't know what that means. And usually when I see the title of a TEDx and I cannot decipher what they're talking about, we're either in for good or bad, although usually bad. I don't know who our speaker is. I don't know what her qualifications are. I don't know what we're going to hear, but it comes from the wonderful world of Des Moines. Somewhere. Des Moines. Desmonds. All right. So, chat. Get your bingo cards ready. Today's bingo card is bingo card B. B as in Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railroad, which is what was on the poll on Twitter. You can find the bingo cards links in the description below. So get your bingo card B ready. We'll see if we get a bingo. Maybe we will. Maybe we won't. Time will tell. Sinatra, are you ready for politics at dinner and then to the train or something?
I am ready.
All right. So everyone, a few seconds for sound test. Make sure I got this all lined up. And then we will proceed. Nice shoes.
There is a unique and powerful ability of perspective to change the way we view the world.
Ooh!
I don't listen to midgets when they tell me what to do.
Tall person, thanks so much. Hoy, can't watch live. We'll watch in full later. Happy International Tiger Day. Well, Tiger King must be all sorts of happy if you weren't in jail. International Tiger Day. Okay.
I wonder who's national.
So Tall Person has this catalog of how every day of the year is a national something day, and probably maybe multiple.
Mhm.
So, I mean, if it's International Tiger Day, that means, well, every nation. Yeah. So there you go. If you are in a nation, then you should celebrate your tigers. So that's great.
I'm a child of divorce.
A child. Wait. So the act of divorce conceived you? Okay. Child of divorce.
And my life was characterized by
she's a hate fuck baby, is what she was saying.
Well, that's what I was thinking. It's like, okay, so you were conceived in a divorce, or you're the catalyst for a divorce. All right.
And my life was characterized by the constant transition between two worlds.
Mm.
In one of those worlds, I was the daughter of a hippie-esque mother that relied on governmental assistance. In that world, we were taught to
Don't they all?
meditate, encouraged to travel to different dimensions.
Different. Am I watching Loki again?
And taught that the government was trying to destroy our creativity. In that world, I had a small blue laundry basket of belongings that I took to my grandmother's house because we needed a place to stay.
Okay, well, before we get any further, let's go to the bingo card, because already...
I was going to say, dude.
Well, okay, so first off, let's circle free space, because that's probably already a given. We certainly have childhood or family anecdotes, so let's circle that one. Let's go over the rest real quick, just to refresh ourselves and keep our minds ready for when and if these hit. Anecdote that probably never happened. Not yet, but I wouldn't be surprised. Self-vilification or wretchedness. I would be very surprised.
Yeah, she seems to like herself pretty much.
Yeah, systemic institutional, not yet. Weightless example, not yet. Word salad, we'll probably get there at dinner time. Leaves out vital context, not yet. Collectivizes own demographic, not yet. Child of, no. White supremacy, not yet. A list, no. Privilege, no. Sales pitch for product or service, not yet. Plays victim, I could see it coming. Attempt to coin new buzzword, buzz phrase, not yet. Wage gap, no. Patriarchy, no, but I could see it. Feminism, no, but I could see it. Mind reading assumes motives, no. Diversity, equity, and or inclusion, no. Marginalization, marginalized, nope. Make something about race, sex, etc. for no reason. And remember, guys, it's the for no reason part that is the kicker. Contradicts own point or argument, no point or argument yet. Benevolent condescension, not yet. And lastly, microaggressions, unconscious bias, not yet. And before we get back into the wonderful world, we have a Lady Gopher. Thank you so much for the Dogcat Fox. Oh, smiley, happy Dogcat Fox.
Wow-wee! Wow! Wow!
Oh, Dogcat Fox. Thank you, Lady Gopher. All right. So, your world number one, your hippie mother and a blue laundry basket. And dimensions. Was she like feeding her kids edibles or something?
I think her kids got magic mushrooms.
Yeah.
And I remember this look on her face when she asked me, "Is that all you have?"
In your laundry basket? Okay.
In that world, because of how often my mom was gone, I was in charge of cooking, cleaning, taking care of children, including my just out of the NICU baby sister, Abigail.
I was going to say, where'd the baby children come from?
Yeah. And so your mom was a deadbeat mom?
That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
She would lay on my chest while I did my homework for school. And to this day, we have an unbreakable bond that I cherish.
Good for you.
In that world, sometimes food stamps would run out. And on those weeks, peach-flavored, off-brand Quaker oatmeal would be my breakfast and my lunch. And today it's my comfort food.
You seem very happy about this time of want and need.
Well, yeah, she's like using a situation that her mom put her in to bolster herself up as she gets older, which so far is nothing too bad. But there's such an air of condescension under everything she's saying.
Yeah, and so I was extrapolating from this. Okay, so you came from a parentage that had too many kids than they were able to afford, got divorced in the middle of it, And then if mom's on food stamps, then presumably dad's either can't pitch in or not pitching in enough. There's all sorts of little pieces of this story that we can sort of extrapolate here. All right, so you took care of the kids while your mom was, I'll give her the benefit of the doubt, out doing single mom working stuff. Okay, well, we'll at least grant her that possibility that she's trying to be as responsible as she can be. And then
I remember writing papers to the sounds of my neighbors yelling through the thin walls of our Section 8 apartment.
Were you an English major? I have a feeling you might be an English major.
That we later got evicted from and had to move for the 5th time since my parents' divorce.
Jesus.
In my other world...
How the fuck do you get evicted from Section 8?
I don't... You must do something really terrible to get evicted out of Section 8.
Because I think rent there is only literally $1.
I guess it depends. I don't know how it works. Or at least I don't know how it works now. Also, those shoes. I'm not much of a fashion police, but really, those shoes. Yeah.
I'm
going to put an X to that on the Section 8 thing.
Okay, let's put a pin in that one and wait. There might be a stronger contender for anecdote that probably didn't happen at some point, but let's wait and see.
A businessman who made something out of nothing on multiple occasions.
Sorry, I missed that part. Who's a what now? Sorry, back up a little bit.
I was the daughter of a businessman who made something out of nothing on multiple occasions. When I told my brothers what to do, I was reminded that I was not the boss and just being bossy.
Well, I heard bossy was a good thing back in the day.
And that's also correct. You're not the boss. The dad is the boss.
And so I can't wait to find out, okay, what did dad do and why were you and your siblings on food stamps if dad was a quote-unquote businessman who made something out of nothing on multiple occasions, whatever that means.
At 16, I worked in my father's shipping warehouse, where I learned the value of a good work ethic and the unconventional methods of moving boxes as a small person.
Is she a midget?
So suddenly I start envisioning Oompa Loompas for some reason. I don't know why that is.
Whereas my dad...
Legally, I couldn't say without some sort of point of reference.
I do just want to throw this out there right now. Smash or pass, it's a smash.
Whereas my dad refers to me still, to this day, as a Smurfette.
I like your dad.
Yeah, well, he's your dad, and that's perfectly fine. And that reference probably fell on deaf ears of most of the people that would be watching this these days anyway. What's a Smurfette? I don't know. Do they have the Smurfs these days? I guess they have those stupid CGI movies, huh? Yeah, all right.
Living life in two different worlds made me feel like I couldn't fully be a part of either one. I tried hard to separate my life spaces into two different boxes because I developed this notion that my identity could only acknowledge one of those life spaces at once.
Well, that's a problem.
Yeah, your identity. Okay. You have a name. That's about it.
The way I tried to simplify the duality of my upbringing reminds me of how we, as political populations, often try to simplify ourselves. Okay, well, I mean, kind of collectivize his own demographic as political populations.
Yeah.
It's a little abstract, but I'll take it. If it doesn't pan out, I can always take it back. Let's see. All right, she's just been kind of droning on so far. She's wasted 2.5 minutes of just giving us a lot of big words because she sounds fancy.
Big words make you smarter.
Yes, biggie, wordy, makey, smarty.
Our approach to politics in the United States is extremely polarized.
You don't, in a two-party system? Oh, wow. Can you believe it?
I have never heard of such a thing.
Polarized between oh my god.
If we're a Republican, then we have to check all of the Republican boxes and we cannot deter from that.
I don't know. How much of your no true Scotsman do you believe in?
And if we are Democrat, we have to take on every part of the Democrat narrative or we're traitors.
Well, yes, that is, yeah. Joe Manchin, Kristen Sinema versus Liz Cheney. Yeah, that kind of, sort of, I guess.
And this
just in literally the most basic sense, yeah.
Yeah.
All or nothing approach to politics manifests itself into public policy with the position of party whips, whose job it is to push your congressional representative into voting along party lines rather than with their gut.
Well, yes, that's when you join a party. If you want the support of that party, generally you have to accept the fact that you're going to have to go along with the party to maintain support from the party. And
Why do you think?
oftentimes, yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, and oftentimes that means having to sacrifice what you might otherwise want to do for the good of maintaining your support amongst your peers.
Why do you think people like Mitch McConnell and Mitt Romney get so much shit? It's not because of their fantastic leadership.
No. Thank you, Mr. Yes. Hey, Scribe, can you post the link to this TEDx video you and Sin are watching? Well, if you look in the description, if I haven't already screwed it up somehow, there should be a little original link down there to the original broadcast. Also, I just had a thought. Isn't it, isn't it hearkening back to the dark past of our country that these positions are called whips?
That's true.
I think there needs to be a petition made. I think change.org needs to get on this like right now.
Petitions are very helpful.
And
they always work.
We are told by our political parties that our way is right and their way is wrong.
Yes.
But what if there is more than one right?
What?
My head.
Nuance? Gosh, I can't. It's almost like imagining living in two different worlds or different dimensions. Is this where we're drawing the line from? Oh my God. Okay. Well, what does that look like? What is more than one possible right answer look like?
Scribe, you're hurting my brain here. Stop. Calm down.
My story allowed me to see and live two different truths. I understand where the resentment of those who live on welfare comes from. I understand the frustration of working hard while a portion of my paycheck goes to help those who sometimes choose not to help themselves.
Again, I have to ask, how much support was your father giving your mother if your mother's side of the whole equation was on food stamps the whole time? And presumably she was working too.
I think she kind of tacitly admitted the mom wasn't working.
Yeah.
But then I also understand that without food stamps, some weeks I wouldn't have eaten. And without governmental assistance, I'm not really sure where we would have lived sometimes.
So are you just a perpetual fence sitter? Is that what we're getting at here? Not quite sure. 1 second here. Mr. Tickle Trunk, thanks so much. We still watching a TEDx? I'm hyperventilating. Calm down. Calm down. It'll be okay. We'll get through this together, as we always do.
I've had the privilege of living...
Oh, privilege! Okay.
Bingo.
Bingo. Not a bingo. No. Yeah. Well, bingo on the privilege, at least. So on to the bingo card. Over to privilege. Circling privilege. There we go. That's I always feel like we get a natural bingo card space. We don't have to like sort of extrapolate it or try to assume it. Whoops. Thank you, Mr. Trunk again. She said nuance. She did. So did I. That's not on the bingo card though. I think this is Kyle. Did this lady just recently discover nuance? I don't know. This reminds me, and I brought up this example several times. There's a episode of Lords of the Night that I retitled after the fact, "The Worst Article I Have Ever Read." And Sinatra was actually on that episode, and it was from, what's his name? Chris Saliza's personal Igor.
Oliver Darcy, I think.
No, it was, why did I suddenly forget? Oh, Harry Enton. And Harry Enton was giving us the most bottom barrel basic assessment of politics. And as I was reading it, I felt like I was having my intelligence insulted. But Sinatra brought up a very good point during that whole situation, is that this is the kind of article that's written for someone that has no idea how politics works. And so in that vein, perhaps there is an audience for this TEDx that is just not Sinatra and I. But we'll find out as we go. Thank you. In human form. Hello, Formy. Slayer.
Slayer.
White Snake. Iron Maiden,
Pantera,
AC/DC, other
Ozzy,
Beavis and Butthead bands. Thank you for me. Miss Tickletrunk again, not the card. I just got excited. She said nuance. Oh, okay. Well, I always get excited over big words, and she's using a lot of them. And thank you, Red B7. Did her mom waste the child support? I don't know what's going on with her mom.
Sounding likely.
It sounds like, yeah.
I don't mean to judge people, but I'm judging people.
Yeah, her story is interesting. But okay, so anyway, 2 worlds, 2 possible right answers to the same situation, and then
both insecurity as well as security.
Okay, let me back up to make sure we get the full context here. I hate cutting people off.
I've had the privilege of living both insecurity as well as security.
Well,
social security.
But here's the thing: if your dad was the security and your mom was the insecurity, but you are a minor child, then you never really leave security, if you know what I mean. Because presumably your dad, I don't know what's going. We might have a leaves out vital context here pretty quick, because I'm still confused as to how she's on food stamps, but dad apparently runs a warehouse shipping company. I need more information.
And my story empowers me to look at the world through different perspectives. It teaches me that polar opposites can simultaneously be right and wrong. It teaches me that we cannot have a holistic solution if we only look at one face of a 3-dimensional problem.
Wow, it took you being in a divorced family to figure this out? Okay, so where are we going with this? What is the problem that we are going to be attempting to solve or analyze in a polarized way of mutual understanding, I guess?
We have to work together.
Thanks, G.I. Joe.
But unfortunately, ordinary people are liking other ordinary people from opposing political parties less and less.
Yes.
Data from the Pew Research Center in a report titled Partisanship and Political Animosity in 2016 found that between 1996 and 2016, disfavorable views of the opposite party on both sides have risen from 20% to about 60%. More and more, we hold negative attitudes towards people from the other side.
Yes, and both sides kind of bank on that for fundraising.
I think we're getting an enlightened centrist here.
Yeah, I mean, okay, A, she's not wrong. B, it's not at all surprising. Real quick, though, Dark Resurrect, work together. My God, why hasn't anyone else thought of that? Yeah, I know, right? Yes, the idea of the actual idea of bigotry, because people always sort of mix up these terms. Bigotry and racism are not the same thing. Racism is the hatred of someone or people or peoples on the basis of their race. Bigotry is the hatred of someone on the basis of their ideas or opinions. You can be a racist and a bigot, but you can be a bigot and not necessarily a racist. And being a bigot isn't necessarily inherently a bad thing, because if somebody says, hey, I like eating people for a living, you can say, I hate that idea. You'd be a bigot. Doesn't make you a bad person.
It's okay to be bigoted about some things.
Yes, yeah, it all depends on context. But in the context of that person belongs to another political party, I automatically hate them. Yes, or anybody who says something that sounds like it belongs to one side of the equation without listening to anything else they have to say. Or Donald Trump says the sky is blue and you say, no, it's not. And then you're getting into crazy territory. So yes, that mentality has definitely... Well, here's the thing. I don't know if it's increased or if it's just become more visible because of social media, right? I mean, it's difficult to say. Yeah, go ahead.
That's a thing that I've been stuck on in my head for a while. Like, are we really nearing a point of no return with our society, or are we just more aware of the shitty parts of it?
I think it's a bit of both. On the one hand, social media and the internet has allowed people to speak their minds to a much broader audience than they would have prior. At the same time, though, it's also increased that sort of instant gratification of information and the headline versus the article assessment of the world, if you know what I mean. So it's both, I think. And so I think it's just sort of like constant feedback loop. So you can state your opinion in 240 characters or whatever and react to a headline rather than read the article. And that becomes the new reality. That becomes the new standard of how you sort of process the world and other people and make assessments of other people, because you don't have a person in front of you to talk to. You don't have the time or the bandwidth, literally and figuratively, to have a discussion. It's just these, textual sound bites of how you assess someone's either their political views or their value to your world and that kind of thing. So, yeah, like I say, she's not wrong, but I'm wondering if she's going to get into the reasons, or at least her assessment of the reasons why. And then when do we get to the train part? I keep waiting. I like trains.
I like turtles.
I like turtles. When do we get to the trains?
And because of that, we avoid them. And through that, we form echo chambers where our political and social views become more and more correct because there is no challenge to them.
Yes.
And when we're placed in positions where we do have to listen to the other side, it can get tense and hostile very quickly. And that is why the data shows discomfort in talking politics. According to the Pew Research Center in 2019, in a report titled "The Public's Level of Comfort Talking Politics and Trump," they found that 48% of people are not at all comfortable talking politics with a stranger.
Yeah, I wonder why that might be. And she's, I'm not being condescending here or anything, but yeah, when it came down to, if I state any opinion that might lean towards agreeing with a Trump position, at least my experience was, automatically, I am persona non grata. I mean, anything, even if it was just on a policy issue, that in any other context with any other politician would be, neutral territory at best. If it sounded like anything in support of Trump, especially if you're on the other side of the equation, then you're immediately vilified. And then, but that's not to say, on the flip side of it, if you said anything that was of a liberal or progressive slant, that you wouldn't be immediately discarded as a non-believer by a rabid Trump supporter. The polarization and the tribalism is a desired component of modern politics for the sake of factionalizing everyone, getting the votes that they want. Because if you'll vote for party without thinking about any of the issues or any of the nuances, well, then they have a reliable vote without having to work too hard. So building up tribalism makes the job of being a politician a lot easier in gaining votes and fundraising, which is probably the more important part of it. So yeah, this is all, as the Joker would say, this is all part of the plan in the abstract.
I don't know. With all that being said, I never I've never had a Trump flag or a Trump sticker on my car or any of that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't exactly because I didn't support Trump. I did mostly. I just didn't want to get my fucking tires slashed.
That was the other thing, too. Real quick. Thank you, Lamented Guide. Heyo from 30 minutes in the past, and heyo to Sanute. Well, heyo from 30 minutes in the future.
Hi.
There you go. Yeah, and we saw over and over again how, Trump supporters would be attacked on the street. We saw how people like Jussie Smollett decided to lean into the idea that anybody who had a MAGA hat on was obviously a, assaulting, murderous, rampaging racist. And that was acceptable. That was believable because the narrative had been locked in at that point. Whereas if you actually talk to people about what they cared about, it's like, are you idolizing the man, or are you just in agreement with his opinions on some things? And not it's rare the day that you find somebody who says, I agree with that politician on everything they have to say. And if I actually did see someone who said that, I wouldn't believe them first and foremost, or I'd believe they were absolutely out of their mind. Because there is no perfect politician, there is no perfect candidate. I voted for Obama both times because I fell for the rhetoric. But at the same time, I wasn't sold on his opponent. It wasn't a matter of I'm just voting for Obama because he's Obama. It's because I listened to the sales pitches, and in both instances, I was convinced one side more than the other. But it wasn't just automatic. It wasn't a light switch. Oh, a Democrat is running for president? I know who I'm voting for. So I wish more people would think that way and actually look at the issues, read the voters pamphlet before you just, check off the box. But again, they rely the two-party system, the tribalism, hyping people up to make a political position a moral question all the time, or a political affiliation. That is a benefit to people who don't want to have to do much work in convincing you to give them your vote.
While only 17%, that's me, are very comfortable with it. Now, in comparison, 74% of people are very comfortable talking about the weather.
I'm not surprised. As far as I know, the weather does not contain with it a moral assessment of someone, unless you believe in Zeus or something.
Well, that's probably a thing too. Like someone's like, yeah, Zeus is not happy. I hear Poseidon. He's like, oh shit.
It's like, oh man, Apollo must be just fighting Hera today. Yeah. Wait, are you calling Hera? Yeah, that kind of thing. Can you imagine what the conversations back then must have been when people actually believed that on a greater scale? Like if somebody complained about the weather, it's like, who you calling a bitch?
Yeah.
It's like, no, Apollo did what? Athena did what? No.
I got to go cut off one of my goat's heads. I'll be back.
Yeah.
And 1% are not at all comfortable with it.
She's got the baby knees. Oh my God, she has the baby knees.
All right. Are you talking about like their knees look like baby faces?
Yes.
Okay. Because I want to make sure that I know my terminology here. And look at that. I'm like, well, it's either those are the faces of babies, or I'm looking at like, I don't know, the wrinkles on Bob Dole's forehead or something.
The majority of Americans find that conversing with the other side makes them frustrated, afraid, or angry. Americans don't want to talk to the other team, which sounds a lot like my parents' divorce.
Oh.
I got to go throw up. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Okay. Again.
Mommy country and daddy country doesn't love me.
Yeah, there's not a mommy States of America and a daddy States of America. There's a me States of America.
But here's the good thing.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be hard or scary like my parents' divorce.
Boy, you are carrying some baggage. You really are. Okay, so how do we make it easier to bridge the gap between the ideological wasteland? Tell us, please.
And it shouldn't.
Okay.
Let's look at this cube together.
It's a box. Ooh, like you used to move in your dad's warehouse? Is that
Oh my God, it's coming. It's coming. I can feel it.
Please tell me that's where this is going.
Your perspective, your facts, your ideas represent one face of this cube.
Okay.
And if you only talk to people that see that same face as you, sure.
Yeah.
You have some knowledge of an issue. You know the length and the width. But
do you know the girth?
I was just about to say, you can go back and clip that and turn this very sexy very quick.
You know the length, you know the width, but do you know the girth? Thank you, John Miller. Yes, the Dems Republicans are getting a divorce. They don't love each other anymore. It's not your fault. It's their fault. Yeah. Yeah, you'll spend some time with Republicans and you'll spend some time with Democrats, and but we love you though just the same. It's just that your Democratic father will have you on the weekends. That's all.
Ooh, sorry, that one snuck up on me.
You lack the depth.
Oh, it's a hollow cube.
That's what you think.
Well, I mean, if she lacks the depth, that's her fault.
I can hit the walls.
Walls. Trains and tunnels.
I was sitting on a train coming from New York City to Long Island with my grandmother.
Okay.
She,
yes,
a retired nurse, and me, a college student who clearly knows everything. We're talking about universal healthcare policies.
Oh, that sounds just enthralling.
Pretty quickly into the conversation, an old white... I'm sorry, he was like 30.
Wait, what? I'm going to come back to that in a second. Thank you, Dark Resurrect. Mommy Dems and Daddy Republicans are getting a divorce and are paying the child support taxes. Oh, that's one way of looking at it. Now, what happened with this artificial interrupting herself thing again? Sorry.
We're talking about universal healthcare policies. Pretty quickly into the conversation, an old white, I'm sorry, he was like 30.
Hey, watch
jumps
it.
into the conversation.
I know. Did you say old white? Is that what she was getting at? Old white man?
I think so.
Okay. That was lame, but okay.
And he says, I'm a staunch conservative.
Uh-huh.
And so we talked.
Okay.
We talked about the pros and the cons of universal healthcare. We shared our stories. We talked about what it looked like in other nations, like Australia, and how it might look if it was implemented in the United States.
Uh-huh.
And pretty soon, the train stopped. And as the man was getting off, he said, I'm a moderate.
I don't think this happened.
First off, being a conservative and being a moderate are not necessarily things you cannot be at the same time. You can be a moderate conservative. But
that man was Barack Obama.
Okay. I'll give it another second here to see if this is an anecdote we don't believe.
My biggest piece of advice for young people these days is to stay in the middle and to look at both sides.
Okay. On individual issues, not just as a matter of course, right? Because there's some things that sort of like you find. I don't have any big disagreement with her so far. I mean, her presentations sounds very full of herself, but she's not wrong. Do we believe the conservative, but I'm a moderate as he walked out the room thing?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah,
Maybe she like bitched at him about that he's not actually a conservative and it was his wrong call in the first place. But...
Yeah. So I'm going to circle anecdote that probably never happened. I'm also going to circle make something about race, sex, etc. for no reason, because she, in her little interrupting thing, she brought up the fact that he was white. And I have no idea what that had to do with anything. Now, of course, if she expounds on that and somehow explains her reasoning, then maybe, but otherwise. Thank you, Gay Rascal. Anecdote with the smell of the apocryphal about it. Yeah. Yeah, so we got that one down. So just to review the card real quick, we have circled, anecdote that probably never happened, to collectivize his own demographic, privilege, free space, make something about race, sex, etc. for no reason, and childhood or family anecdotes. We'll continue here. We're over halfway through this already, and I gotta tell you, overall, not quite mind melting yet.
As if he didn't get on the train as a staunch conservative. Conversations are powerful.
Oh, so you changed his... Oh, I see. You altered his way of thinking with one conversation. That's what you did. Oh, okay. All right. Wow, you're a hero. I'm shedding a tear.
So, how do you have a political conversation and have it not look like the beginning of World War III?
Well, it all depends on the participants, really. Because one person might come in completely fine, the other person might come in a total zealot. But, okay, tell us, how do you have a conversation about politics that doesn't turn into a fistfight?
It goes back to a principle that is over 1,500 years old.
Oh!
Be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger. Ask questions of your conversational partner. Challenge them. Sometimes choose to drop an offense. Affirm your conversation partner where you agree with them. Okay,
you know what makes me more sad listening to this than anything else? The fact that it has to sound to a certain level of the audience as a revelation. Right? This is a necessary piece of advice to be given at all. Like I say, I'm not surprised by it, but it doesn't make me any less depressed about the fact that this is where we are, that we have to get back to such basic level communication skills and assessments that we have this girl on a stage talking to an audience that probably needs this advice.
She just needs to wash her hair.
Yeah, it's a little stringy, isn't it? And get some better shoes. Maybe she got the shoes on food stamps.
And when you don't, remember that sometimes tension can be a good thing.
Well, what kind of tension?
She is so fucking horny, dude. I swear to God.
And there was a lot of tension I went on this date 2 weeks ago.
Oh boy, a date. Here we go. That's going to
right.
get juicy. All right, tell us about this date.
Well, hopefully juicy.
So your date was, okay, we're going to take it conservative or liberal?
She went out with a conservative, but he hit it.
in the length and width and depth of her box.
And I know that there's like this unspoken rule to not talk politics on a second date.
Oh, it was a second date. Wait, not talk politics on a second date? I thought it was not talk politics on a first date. Oh, wait, it's unspoken, so how would I know?
But I'm me. So naturally, I asked him who he voted for in the 2020 election.
Okay.
And then I asked him why.
Wait, why are you taking that attitude if you were supposed to listen to him first? You're going to point this out as a failing on your part in the whole listen thing, right? You're not contradicting yourself already, because I've got a square to circle if you do.
This is what it's like to go on a date with a debate coach.
Wait, are you the debate coach?
Yeah, I was going to say, which one is the debate coach?
And he told me that he really didn't understand much about politics and just went with his gut.
Which is perfectly valid. You're not going to tell us that's not valid, are you?
And then we transitioned the conversation to police brutality.
Wow, you must have been just an absolute pleasure to go on a date with. Who instituted that conversation? I have a feeling it was. By the way, my pause game is amazing right now.
Yeah, right.
That should be a thumbnail. Let's see. I'm looking at contradicts own point or argument, but I'm going to give it another second here for her shovel tongue to dig a deeper hole.
Which he said he was against, but
I'm against police brutality. Wow, there's a brave statement. Real brave statement.
He didn't have the language to talk about the issue in a respectful way.
What does that mean?
And I'll be honest.
Oh, you will?
I wanted my friend to call me with a fake emergency.
So, wait. Okay. Unless she's going to come up and say, this is where I made a mistake on the date by assessing him in a way based simply on his opinions, then she is contradicting everything she said prior to this. Because she's tossing him out on his ear, more or less, because he didn't have the language necessary to talk about it in a respectful way, whatever that means.
But at the end of the day, I have the knowledge. I'm informed. I was safe. And I have the capacity to inform another person.
Oh, right.
I am confused.
Okay, so you go out on a date with a guy who isn't well-read on the same subjects that interest you. And as a consequence of this, you decide to assess him as less than you and needing an education because he's not into the same things you are. Now, if you're talking about Star Wars or silly things or whatever, okay. But now you're going to school him on your perspective on politics. Maybe was he interested in politics? You know, you cannot be interested in politics and still be a good person in the world. You know that? Thank you, John Miller. Yeah,
not at all.
Thank you, John Miller. So this sounds like the worst non-existent date. So far, I can believe she went on this date. I can believe that she subjected some guy to this, given her attitude so far. It just stands in stark contrast to everything that she was advocating for prior to this. Again, unless she comes up at the end of it and says, this is where I made my mistake. So we'll see.
So I told him to stop talking like we live in the days of Jim Crow.
Wow. That's an interesting way of putting that. What kind of accusation implicitly was she leveling at this guy, I wonder? Let's all think on that for a second, shall we?
I gave him a quick vocabulary lesson and a lecture on white privilege.
I hate to ask this question. Did he pay for the dinner?
He probably said equal rights, equal bills.
Please. Okay. If she doesn't say they split the check at the end of this, I'm just saying, tell me about his white privilege and then who paid the check.
No kidding.
And he listened.
Yeah.
He admitted his ignorance and changed the way he spoke.
All right, you know what? I'm going to throw it out there right now. He just wanted a hit. So he's like, "Oh my God, you've changed my mind. Teach me more."
Well, there's two possibilities. Either he was trying to ingratiate himself into her, literally, or just for the sake of getting through the date and not making a scene, he just reassessed his interactions with her for the sake of getting through the night. The question is, were they still dating after this? If the answer is yes, then we might have a simp alert.
Maybe.
We'll see.
But I listened first.
Oh, well, that makes you the better person.
Ooh.
You listened first, and you found his opinions lacking, so you corrected him. Very good.
And when I listened, I found out that he really didn't enjoy political conversations.
Oh my God! You have a difference in interests? What did you do?
I learned that for him, they were hard because his two families, Republican and Democrat, would fight it out at the dinner table and the tension was too high, and so he withdrew.
Which is perfectly valid, isn't it?
And I know a lot about tension.
You're going to bring this back to some kind of shipping boxes analogy or something?
I grew up in tension, jumping around between two different worlds and then within each of those worlds.
Also, I hate to tell you this, you're not that special. You might think you're special, you're not that special. Thank you, Gay Rascal. I'm guessing that he faked an emergency phone call. We can only hope. I want to know where this relationship went.
He didn't want to have a political or a social conversation because he didn't feel like he had the knowledge to talk about the issue.
Oh my God. So he didn't feel like he was comfortable talking about an issue. He didn't engage in the issue, and you gave him a lecture on white privilege? Jesus, bitch, you sound insufferable.
So here's the thing that everybody should, and I mean this is a real piece of advice. If you get embroiled in a conversation and a subject matter of which you do not know as much as you think you might need to in order to, keep going on it, just be honest about it. I heard this, I learned this, or at least explicitly, from Christopher Hitchens, where in many, many situations he'd be having a debate. And Christopher Hitchens was no dumb guy, and he knew a lot about a lot of things. But when it came to a subject where he was not as well educated on something, he'd always preface his opinion with saying something to the effect of, "I'm sure there's someone in the room that knows more about this than I do." Which is basically saying that, admit your own ignorance. It's not a bad thing. It is not a sin to do so. It might be a Sinatra to do so, but it's not a sin to do so.
It's not bad to go, you know what? I have to look more into this before I expound on it. I cannot form an opinion based on my knowledge. That's perfectly acceptable. It should not be met with a lecture on white privilege.
Yeah, and it's intellectually honest to say, I don't know, or I know just enough to be dangerous about this subject. So this is what I think, or this is what I understand. But again, there's probably somebody here that knows more than I do. And that's one of the vital factors against what she is talking about legitimately here is the notion in your head that you have to allow for the possibility that you may be wrong. Just in life in general, as you go through things. And that's not to second guess yourself at every step of the way. But when it comes down to things, leave a little room of doubt that you might either find out something new or have your entire world changed, or just to make sure you're on the right path. And just to draw it all the way back, that's why I watch these things, believe it or not. That's why I do half of the things that I do on my channel, is because I listen to people whose, at least at the outset, their ideas or their attitudes are things that reflexively I say to myself, I'm probably going to disagree with this person. Why bother? And it's that little bit of doubt that I keep in my mind to still listen and still analyze and still accept the possibility that maybe there's something I can learn from this, even if I end up disagreeing with the person. If nothing else, hopefully I'll understand better where they are coming from, even if I think they're wrong. Thank you, Jeanette. Politics is not important in dating, and whoever says others is, well, trying to, I guess. It all depends. Some people I think of like James Carville and his wife. I mean, politics is their life. If they couldn't get along dealing with politics, they wouldn't be together all these years. Or maybe they just agreed that we're never going to talk politics. You know, so politics may or may not be important to people. It's perfectly fine if it is, but this is not the way to do it.
I think it's perfectly acceptable to not talk about politics. It used to be a pretty big faux pas, a taboo to talk about that shit in a party setting and all that.
Yeah, and she was saying like on a second date, it's the unwritten rule. Like I think it's an unwritten rule on most dating in general.
Yeah.
So anyway, okay. So you gave him a lecture. You told him what to think because he was wrong. He changed his things, and he admitted to you. And credit to him that he doesn't know enough about it to have a conversation. Now, did you hold that against him? I'm assuming maybe you did.
And so I challenged him. When we don't have the knowledge to talk about the issue, let's get informed.
What if? Hold on. What if? Yeah, what? Dude,
go ahead.
Now, I was going to say, what if you don't care? But go ahead.
I want to talk to you about carpentry. I want to teach you how to put cabinets on a wall in the proper way to measure them out and put the markings on a cabinet, how to drill it from the inside. This is stuff you're never going to use in your life. You will never need to know this. You will always hire somebody to hang your cabinets. But you need to listen to what I have to say anyway.
Excuse me, but you, sir, are no Bob Vila.
How do you know?
Oh my God, you're right. You could be Bob Vila.
I have the beard and everything.
Oh my God. And then half the audience is like, who the fuck is Bob Vila?
They all are doing that right now.
Or who was his assistant's name? Abe something?
Oh, yeah. Abe.
Yeah, with the squished head and the beard and the glasses, and he always did the carpenter stuff. Abe, whatever.
Shit.
I used to watch him too. Or there was this one show. There's one home improvement show where the two hosts, male and female, and it was always implied that they were husband and wife, but they were just like actors. Was it Home Time? I think it was Home Time.
You know which one I like? The gay twin brothers.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
I don't think they're gay actually, but the twins.
Yeah.
Shit.
I'm really old school. I used to watch This Old House with my mom and my dad, and then Home Time, and I think that's about as far as most of my homes. And still, it became
Abe
like this.
Foreman.
I recognize the name. I don't think I ever watched them. Oh, no, sorry, Abe Foreman. Was that his assistant? Sorry,
I think so. Yeah,
I had the twins thing in my mind. I thought you were naming off the twins, and then
the Property Brothers. Yeah, those are pretty good.
That's what. Okay, yeah, no. Yeah, and until when home improvement shows became like this like McDonald's franchise thing on the Home and Garden channel or whatever the hell it was, I just kind of stopped watching them. Because
Home Improvement was always pretty good, but that was around the same time because you had Tim Allen and Al Borland, who was a clear Bob Vila guy.
Yes, it was weird that they turned a Bob Vila into its own little universe of a comedy show, but hey, whatever works. Home Time with Dean and Robin. That's right. Home Time with Dean and Robin. Well, actually, was it originally Dean and Robin? I think Robin came in later. Wasn't it Elaine or something who was like the first lady? Then she left to pursue a career in comedy, and we never heard from her again. Something like that. Anyway, sorry to go off on that tangent, but yeah, you're right. No, if I don't know something about something and you know something about something, then I have to get informed about the thing that you're passionate about, even if I don't give a rip. Because there's no compromise in relationships, as our speaker is telling us. It's my way or you're dumb. At least that's what I'm getting so far.
And then we can talk about it. Then families, friend groups, and schools, we got to do better.
Oh, God. That phrase. Okay, I'm going to go back to the bingo card. Let's see. First, I'm going to circle contradicts own point or argument because she basically spent the first half telling us that we have to listen, find some kind of common ground kind of thing. But then, oh no, this guy doesn't know about or care about the things I care about. Well, I'm going to teach him about his white privilege. Let's see. Mind reading assumes motives. Well, I don't know. Is she mind reading in the sense of assessing someone's, I don't know, place in the world or something if they don't know enough about what she cares about? Does that work? Marginalized. Benevolent condescension, certainly benevolent condescension. Okay, so that one's circled. Has she given us a list yet? I can't. Maybe abstractly. Okay, plays victim, wage gap. Well, she talked about the wage gap between mom and dad, food stamps and all that. I'll circle that one. Okay, so far we have anecdote that probably never happened, to collectivize his own demographic, privilege, free space, wage gap, make something about race, sex, etc. for no reason, childhood or family anecdote, contradiction. What?
Maybe the makes things about race for no reason because he said it was an old white guy and he gave the guy a talk on white privilege.
No, I know. I already circled that one for the white guy.
Oh, you're going over the ones you circled.
Yeah, I got that one circled already. Contradicts own point or argument and benevolent condescension. So we need to do better. As assessed by whom? Oh, I think I know the answer to that one.
Let's have those hard conversations so we can challenge each other's perspectives and grow.
Okay, are your perspectives, are those ones that can, are those perspectives that can be challenged? Can your perspectives be challenged? Because so far, you couldn't go past the perspective of this guy doesn't find politics all that important or attractive because of his own lived experience, so you're going to force it upon him because you do care about it? If he came back and said, politics is not my life, and I think that they are destructive and divisive to relationships, what would you say then? Would his perspective be any more or less legitimate than your own in that case?
Yes, because he doesn't agree with you.
Right.
So we can challenge each other's perspectives and grow, rather than isolating our perspectives.
Okay, I'm just going to end up repeating myself because I just this kind of...
It's kind of repetitive, yeah.
It is.
Let's have a conversation at that dinner table about the hard things.
How about not at the dinner table? Because I don't know if it's just the way I was raised or something, but you don't talk about this shit at dinner.
Yeah, you don't want to not look forward to sitting down with your family and eating if it's just going to be, let's be divisive for an hour.
Yeah.
Let's argue for an hour. Like, make this the place. You can almost get some kind of like the dinner table becomes a trigger mechanism. It's like, no, I don't want to go anywhere. And obviously this happened to this guy, but you couldn't recognize that. So you had to push on through, which is, I'm sure, exactly what he wanted to do without having to have the conversation after dinner, after the train, back at his place. Anyway.
So, while there might not be a third date.
Oh, okay. So you really did toss this guy aside because he wasn't interested in what you were interested in, or gave a different opinion on politics than yours. What were you saying at the top of this again? I wish I could circle contradicts on point more than once.
Which I informed him of after he paid.
You absolute bitch. You chewed this guy out. I was joking before, but now you chewed this guy out over his vocabulary and his white privilege, and you dumped him after he paid for dinner. Am I surprised? No. Still offensive in my mind that you were smiling at this notion after what you just laid out to us? Yeah. Just a smidge. Yeah.
There was growth.
Listen, what an absolute terror this lady is. I mean, for everything that I was sort of on the same page with her up to the halfway point, like, okay, yeah, she's being a little smarmy about it, but she's not wrong. Boy, true colors shining through when it comes down to the bill, doesn't it? Thank you, Mike R. Charlie Uniform November Tango. Yeah. That's one way to get around it. Wow. I'm sure that guy grew a lot as a result of your interaction. Like, never date someone like you again. I hope.
And that, not my failing dating life, is the point.
So you assume that he grew, quote unquote, as a result of your date because of your wonderful lecture and taking advantage of his wallet for great justice. That's the point.
We have to attack the problem.
Yes.
Not the party.
Uh-huh.
And remember that you're only going to be able to understand a whole problem if you can understand its depth.
Well, here's the thing. You're about as shallow as a puddle.
She is.
Seeing a three-dimensional shape as flat causes a variety of issues. Think back to 1492.
Oh, I'll just do that, right? You remember 1492, Sinatra?
I do. It was very turbulent times.
Yeah, it was a very good year. Did you go to 1492 in one of those dimensions through the magic mushrooms your mom gave you? Is that how you're about to reference to us the wonderfulness of Chris Columbus?
When Christopher Columbus sparked the erasure of America's indigenous populations.
Well, thank you, girlfriend.
You probably thought I was going to say sailed the ocean blue.
No, not you. Not you, because over the course of these 12 minutes, I've taken a look at various facets of you in the three-dimensional space, and I've understood that you probably wouldn't lean on the sort of glossed over idea of what Christopher Columbus did when you brought him up. So I kind of knew ahead of time because I'm paying attention. I'm listening, you see. Thank you, Mr. Trunk. She's preaching about cubes, but lives on one side. Yeah. Yeah. And she expects everybody else to as well until she educates them to give them more depth that they don't already possess. Oh, boy.
But as always, there's more to the story.
Uh-huh.
You may never be on the exact same page as your opposite party or same party counterpart. And I'm not going to advocate that you should be.
You just did.
Literally just happened.
You just did that. You found your date wanting in the knowledge and vocabulary that you deemed appropriate. And so you spent the entire date correcting him and then let him pay for dinner and then dumped him. You just did that. That is exactly what you are advocating for. Man. I'm going to circle feminism. If for no other reason than preaching to somebody about how terrible they are and then having them pay the bill.
But what I am saying is that there is value in having those political and social conversations that remove partisan language, the name-calling, the defensiveness, and instead focus in on that issue.
Do you think that your date wasn't reacting out of defensiveness by changing his vocabulary to please you at the table? You think he was just sort of nodding and smiling the whole time, going like, "Oh my God, what a shining light of revelation you're putting upon me. Gosh, I'm so much better now than I was before." He wasn't just trying to make you happy and keep the date copacetic. Sinatra's writing.
She doesn't give a shit.
No, she doesn't.
She doesn't give a shit about copacetic dates. She gives a shit about people listening to her.
Thank you, Patrice Ripley, for the donation. No comment, but thank you so much.
Yeah. That's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
I know. Patrice, where you been? What's been up? Tell us.
Yeah, she doesn't give a fuck about anything being a copacetic date. She just cares about her getting to tell her part and not what you care to say about it.
And here's the thing. I wonder, given the fact that she's talked so much about what people don't realize of themselves. I wonder if she has any notion of just how much she's contradicted herself at this point. Probably not, which is really interesting.
And that is what they did in a 2019 experiment by the National Opinion Research Center at the University of Chicago. There were 526 voters from all over the country that came in, sat at tables over a weekend, and had conversations about policies.
Okay.
They were strangers with different stories, different backgrounds, different races, ethnicities, and political ideologies.
And only a couple of those things actually say anything about who a person is.
No, if you morally judge another human being based on their political affiliation or their opinions or non-involvement of things, the last thing they want to hear from you, because most likely the reason they don't want to be involved is because of people like you, the last thing they want to hear from someone like you is a lecture to them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, nobody wants to be lectured at.
Unless you're paying to go to a college course. She did just make a list, so certainly.
Oh, could you hear my keyboard that whole time? I'm so sorry. Holy shit.
Oh yeah, no, I heard it the whole time. Like Sinatra's writing a novel in the background.
I'll tell you what happened after the show.
Oh, okay. Ooh. See, guys, I get secret stuff. You don't get to know. That's right.
There were no moderators.
Oh yeah, that was a list.
Yep. Yeah, that was a list. Yeah, she listed off all the elements like race and ethnicity, as though that had anything to do with the value of someone's political opinion or anything else. We are one square away. Well, actually, in two instances, we're one square away from a bingo. So if we can find something that qualifies as word salad, which I know a lot of people right now would probably say yes, but so far I haven't gone blah. So I don't know.
The only part that made me go blah was the dad thing, but other than that, no, I have not heard word salad yet.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything that I didn't understand or just sounded like words for the sake of words, sort of. And the other one is microaggressions, unconscious bias. Now,
what a pause.
I know. I got my pause game today is great. There's a lot of great screen grabs here. You know what? Unconscious bias. What is this entire presentation, if not a seminar on the dangers of unconscious bias, right? Of dismissing people out of hand because of, I mean, even though she's doing it herself, at least in the first half, her point was not to do that, right? Making assumptions of people and things. So with that.
Bingo. What? Of course!
We have,
of course,
our first bingo down along the bottom. I was being a little bit in the abstract. Yay! I was doing a little bit in the aggregate for that square there, but I think it's deserved. I think it's deserved. So we are first bingo. We might get a second one. We shall see. And remember, guys, if you have arguments for squares to be circled, hold on to them. Once we get past the video, we'll take some suggestions here, and we'll see where we go. All right. So what were you saying, Big Mouth?
Cities and political ideologies.
Mm-hmm.
There were no moderators.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no.
And nobody even died.
Nobody even died?
What?
Oh, because if I don't have any moderators in my chat, everybody's dead.
That's true. Isn't that what happened with net neutrality? We all died then.
I know. Everybody. I mean, hell, we're all just ghosts in the machine right now. In fact, I'm a recording. I'm just a very well-timed, well-thought in advanced recording. Prove that I'm not.
I can't because your algorithm's too advanced.
That's right. It's better than yours times 3,000.
Pudding shit.
What? What'd you say? What?
Pudding shit. Fuck. That's not error.
Okay. I think Sinatra's algorithm just had a little gasket break.
Mm.
And speaking of moderators, Keeverdam says hi. Hi, Keeverdam.
Hi, Keever.
Keever.
Died.
Yes, nobody died.
But in fact, they began to hold more favorable views of people from the other party, of each other.
Yeah. So actually listening and having a conversation, not lecturing to someone about how wrong they are, might not be the best way to make a friend.
She is super horny.
To have a conversation, we got to drop the name calling, the assumptions, the defensiveness, and just tell our story, because after all, your story might be the face on the political or social cube that your conversation partner might not know about.
Yeah. Again, you want to take any of what you've just said and put it up against that date again?
Hey, listen here, baby knees. I don't need you telling me what I'm allowed to say or not to say, especially when you don't follow this advice yourself.
That would be some kind of conversation right there. I would love it if like a TEDx had a question and answer session and I was in the audience for this one.
Oh man.
God, there's so many times I wish I was in the audience for one of these things and just like sort of say to somebody, hey, you know that thing you said? The problem is that in real life, you don't have a pause button, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
So you have the opportunity in these instances to actually take a moment, think about what they've said, and then keep it in mind as you go over. Because a lot of times you're just sitting there watching these things live and they just kind of wash over you. And it's just like,
Miss, hi, I have a question. If you said all this stuff about being okay with other people's opinions, why weren't you like that with your date? And can I take you on one?
Because I got an opinion I'd like to push on you. It's got depth and length.
And girth.
Yep.
So let's start by getting on a train together.
Okay.
Oh.
Have a conversation with a talkative college girl and her grandmother.
No,
I don't know if I want to bring your grandma, but
yeah, that's a kind of Rule 34 I don't want to go anywhere near.
We might get off the train at different stops with different conclusions. But provided neither of us go flying off the rails.
And oh my God. I wonder if her grandma's hot.
For those of you in the audience, there is now a clip button on YouTube. And so you now have your new ringtone for the month.
The important part is that we get off the train at a different point than which we...
Wait, no, it's just important that I get off. You're subjective.
When the train goes in the tunnel, I'm the one getting off.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Woo-hoo! Woo! Go buy some better shoes. Okay. Whoa! 3D graphics.
Yeah, they really went all out with that fucking those graphics, didn't they?
Boy, oh boy. Well, TEDx is not exactly TED. All right, guys and gals and everything in between. Here we go. Let's bring up the bingo card. I got to shrink it down a little bit for the good of the nation. All right, so there's where we're at right now. I'm going to go over it real quick one more time, and then we'll take suggestions. So Sinatra, follow along with me. All right.
I am following.
Self-vilification or wretchedness?
No, she seemed to like herself pretty well.
Systemic institutional?
No.
Weightless example?
Maybe.
I am of a mind that the whole date thing was a weightless example because it flew in the face of everything that she'd been saying to that point and onward.
You know what? Yes, I will agree to that.
Circle weightless example. Okay, let me get that there and make sure I refresh the right page so I don't knock myself out of my own show. All right, word salad. Now, again, there wasn't a point where I just thought she was saying words just to say them. As far as I can tell, everything had a purpose in the course of the presentation, but I'm open to suggestions.
I mean, whatever purpose it was there. If we had a word starter salad, like a word lettuce, not a word salad exactly.
Okay, so chat, just as a preparatory move, if you're going to make an argument for word salad to be circled, it's going to have to be a really good one because A, I don't know if I noticed anything in there, and B, it is the last square before a bingo, which sets the bar a lot higher. Okay, leaves out vital context. I still want to know what was going on with mom and dad.
Yeah, that was very meh.
Yeah, that part, in order for her to make that whole two worlds argument and this, that, and the other, I wanted to know more of what she brought it up and she kind of dropped it.
John Miller said she babbled a lot. She did, but it wasn't exactly pointless babble. I mean, the whole thing was kind of pointless.
Yeah, that's really the dividing line for word salad. It's not just somebody says a lot of things. It has to be like they say stuff that has absolutely no connection to anything, or is just words for the sake of. If she was just like belting out corporate buzz terms left, right, and center for a minute, I'd be right there. But everything she said, as far as I can tell, related to her presentation and was not just gobbledygook for the sake of it. So
yeah.
White supremacy. All right. She never said the phrase. And so this is the last square before another bingo. So again, if there's going to be an argument made, it's going to be a really good one if you're going to make an aggregate argument, because she did bring up the old guy, white guy, that thing.
And she brought up police brutality, which we all know is white supremacy.
Yeah, again, so I'll leave that for if somebody in the audience has a really good argument for circling. It's going to have to be a good one. Sales pitch for product or service. Nope, she never made this a platform for I run an organization or something like that. So plays victim.
Maybe. There's a maybe there, because she was very my childhood. I was victimized by my mom and my dad moving boxes. He called me you know what? I'm going to say yes, because she really played up he called me a Smurfette. There's
that. There's also that the food stamps and everything else gave her a unique perspective that other people don't. Yeah. Okay. All right. So plays victim. Circle in that one.
Scanner Daphne said she was trying to sell her box. I mean, it's true.
Attempt to coin new buzzword or buzz phrase.
No.
Yeah, usually the key thing to listen for is when someone says something I like to call, or whatever, or something, or just something they come up and they keep repeating over and over again like a mantra. That's usually where you can kind of tell somebody's trying to coin a new buzzword or buzz phrase. The other question is, does this sound like it's going to make the title of a book, like White Fragility?
Right.
If you can take, because I mean, for everything else that she is, I'll give Robin DiAngelo credit. She took that phrase and reverse engineered it into an entire career. So, patriarchy. She never said the word, so if there's going to be a circle, it's got to be.
No, she never said it. She implied it, but she never said it. By going that this man said this man jumped in on here, that kind of thing.
Dad called me Smurfette. He paid for me. Now, I circled feminism on the whole. I lectured him and then he paid for the bill, because that sounds very third-way feminist.
Well, there you go.
So patriarchy.
I'm going to say no then.
Yeah, I might be able to see an argument in there, but she didn't dwell on the battle of the sexes that much. So
no, all in all, she was rather inoffensive, just boring, which is almost worse.
Yeah, I know. Mind reading assumes motives. Okay. Yes.
I don't know. Because her assumption was people are too ignorant. There's no motive behind ignorance.
Well, it's one or the other kind of thing. So like, okay, in the instance where he was using, what'd she say, like incorrect or you say problematic language or something when they were talking about police brutality?
Did she use the word problematic? I don't remember.
I know it was probably she categorized his way of speaking about the subject as something. Okay, yeah, I'm on the fence. Not to be a neutrality hog here, but we'll leave that there. Diversity, equity, and inclusion.
I don't think so.
The closest you could get is when she underlined the fact that the people brought in for the 526 people conversation in Chicago were of different races, ethnicities, etc.
Yeah.
That's about as close as you could come without actually saying it.
Faithless in the chat, she assumed his disinterest was ignorance.
Oh,
okay. Yeah.
That good call. Actually, that's really good. Okay, so circling, mind reading assumes motives. Good call, Faithless. All right, let me get that one up there. Okay, and lastly, marginalization. Again, you could do some real stretching with talking about police brutality and her talking about ethnicities and stuff like that, but again, she didn't really dwell on that particular thing.
I feel like if you're going to circle that, you'd have to go back and circle white supremacy.
Well, yeah, again, at this point, we're into you have to either be very abstract or take something in aggregate over the course of the presentation. So, okay, so that's where we're at, guys. So now I will entertain further arguments for squares to be circled. If you do have one, be sure to tag me in your comments so I can see it more readily. And I'll also take on other comments as they come in. Let's see. GC Wade Wilson, wasn't it that he was talking like it was the Jim Crow era? Oh,
she did say that.
Oh, right. Okay. Boy, oh boy, does that... I mean, that's a white supremacy concept.
I mean, I'm sold.
Okay, chat. Okay, so Sinatra's on there. I'll take him as a vote. Pretty much leaning towards it, but I'll need chat. Keep me honest. Does the reference to Jim Crow all by itself? What? Jesus Christ, man!
What? What is that? What the fuck is that? What? What?
Okay, that was not a WTF for the TEDx. That was just Sinatra. That was all for Sinatra. All right, do you feel better now? Do you feel relaxed? All right. Anyway,
I gotta open up my window. Oh my God.
So whatever crawled up Sinatra's ass and died just released its last gasp of air. All right. Well, go back to the thing. All right, chat. With Sinatra's vote in the affirmative, and me,
my ass agreeing.
And his ass agreeing. Does the reference to Jim Crow all by itself justify circling white supremacy? With the reminder that this is the last square for a bingo.
I will say yes, because it was kind of an undertone throughout the whole thing of, oh, this white man jumped in the conversation. They don't give a shit about police brutality, blah, blah, blah.
Okay. I didn't have to say it. Yeah. If you agree with that, put a 1 in the chat or a yes. If you disagree, put a no. Let's see. Faithless says her 1492 reference was implied. Oh,
that's true.
That is also true. That is also true. Okay, I've seen a lot of 1s, a lot of yeses, a lot of 1s. Well, golly gee whiz, I think I'm convinced. How about you?
I am.
Ooh, that's a bingo. Right?
Yeah!
There you go, guys. Second bingo. 2 bingos. All right. So any more arguments for squares to be circled? I'll give it another couple minutes here. We'll get to an even bottom of the hour before we wrap things up here. Let's see. Bridget said she equated the two, making it seem like his language was white supremacy. So yes, there you go. Okay. Legit. Fair enough. Shouting at clouds. If you ask the Amish, the U.S. government is not qualified to be the police and the government at the same time. I've never spoken to the Amish. I went to an Amish farm once on a field trip. I stole a horseshoe.
Why would you steal a horseshoe?
Because it's good luck.
I don't think it counts if you steal it.
That was all rusty and everything. It's hanging over my door right now. Of course, here's the thing. If you put a horseshoe over your door, you have to make sure that the ends are facing up. Otherwise, the luck all runs out.
I've never heard that.
Now you know. And knowing is half the battle. G.I. Joe. Thank you. This is Kyle. I swear I lose my shit every time Sinatra laughs at a fart. His laugh is contagious like my brother's. Your brothers are contagious? Are your brothers diseases? I shot an elephant in my pajamas. Let's see. Check your logic.
Wearing your pajamas.
Was the car crash in response to her saying flying off the rails a result of someone flying off the rails? Yes.
The answer is yes.
Because of the train thing that she was also, yes. Thank you, Mr. Trunk. I'm just glad farts aren't contagious. Well, have you heard the latest news? Have you heard the latest? And also, that whole thing about it being contagious through flatulence, that was a rumor or theory in the beginning of the whole thing.
Yeah, that was way old. Because I remember there was it was a little particle graph in the sky. Dude in the store farted and it just wafted over to the other aisle.
So everybody going all like, oh my God, could this be? I was like, did everybody just collectively lose their memories from a year ago? I mean, I realize that people's attention spans these days are the size of a gnat at this point, and I'm not.
Oh my God, are they?
I'm not innocent of it myself, but all the same, it's like, really? Let's see. Gen T Maxi, could you imagine if her date asked her to pay for her share, like equality, bitch? Do you think she would have been still cool with it? With that attitude that she had when she was all smirking about him paying the bill? No way. No way.
I wish she would have told us if she gave it up after that.
If she was telling him right after the fact there was not going to be a third date, I don't think so.
Maybe she's like, I'm not going to go out with you again.
I gotta
get in here.
Okay, well, I don't see many more arguments for squares to be circled. So, guys, I'll give another couple minutes here. If you have any more arguments for squares to be circled, we still have open self-vilification or wretchedness. That's going to be an uphill battle. Systemic institutional, I could see an argument there. Actually, I'm thinking of one right now. But
there is an argument to be made.
Mm-hmm. Because of the institutions of our political parties.
And the institution of divorce.
Or marriage, conversely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean...
that's up to the chat to make that argument, though.
Well, yeah, but, you know, it's my show.
Bingo.
What? Of course!
Third bingo. Yeah, between police brutality, Democrats, Republicans, marriage, divorce, food stamps, on and on and on. I think I'm safe in that bet. So,
man, if only she wasn't such a narcissist, we could get that fucking self-vilification one up.
I know. Or if we, I mean, nah. There's a couple on here that I'm kind of like looking at. I'm like, but that'd be too much of a stretch. That'd be too much of a stretch. So, everybody, we got triple bingo, which doesn't happen very often, but is pretty good, all things considered, for what was, at least in the beginning half, kind of an agreeable sort of thing. And although the entire thing wasn't exactly filled with chills and spills, it came out with an interesting date.
She was all right to look at, too.
Yeah. Plus her four-sided empty box. Or five-sided. Six-sided, eight-sided, seven-sided. I don't know. How many sides are on a cube? Fuck if I know. I was an English major, not a math major.
6?
Maybe.
No, it's 6.
Is it 6?
Yeah, it's absolutely 6.
I don't know. I don't.
Do you not have a fucking box around you?
I failed geometry the first time through.
It's not even geometry.
Yeah, it is.
Counting 1 to 6 is geometry.
Three-dimensional cube is a geometry thing. It's a geometric shape.
Yeah, but just look around. You don't even have to look.
I wear glasses. I don't know anything.
So do I.
Well, stop taking away my excuses for being dumb.
No.
Oh, you're going to be like her on the date, huh?
Lexi said dice have 12. No, they don't.
No, 2 dice. Okay. Well, 12-sided dice does. Thank you, Ebony Williams. Why do people feel it necessary to bring these conversations up during a first date? Because she really, really, really wants to sound like the smartest person in the room.
No, that was like her number one goal, which is why we will never get self-vilification.
Yeah, she wants. Well, A, she wants to sound like the smartest person in the room, and B, she desires someone who is going to overtake her. She is so wanting someone to finally trounce her on something so she can feel like she's, but until that happens, yeah, she wants to be conquered.
You know, I'm gonna assume motive here real quick. She is 100% one of those women that write an article going, I want a Republican to dominate me sexually.
Or at least not fart on them. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a blast. Ass blast. Triple bingo. Sinatra, thank you for joining me so much.
Thank you for having me. These are very fun. I want to do them more often.
I will endeavor to make sure to invite you on more often as schedules allow. On the off chance that anybody here has absolutely no idea who you are or what you do, who are you, what do you do, and where can they find you next?
Well, I am Sinatra. I do everything you could think of and more. I have a political channel, a reaction channel, and a narration channel with a soon-to-be added secret that only patrons know about.
Ooh.
And you could follow all that on Twitter at Sinatra_says.
And I think I probably did. If I failed to put all that information into the description, it'll be added right after the show for those of you listening in the future. Otherwise, just look up Sinatra Says on YouTube and, of course, follow him on Twitter. You can see his little Twitter handle there on the screen, and you'll find out all that stuff otherwise. But let's see. As for myself, if you'd like to hear more from me or Satsu 2 Cents, you can find the two of us tonight, Thursday night, on this channel at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern for The Lords of the Night, where Satsu and I will go over the news of the day, the news stories you submit, what we've been up to on the internet, and then your questions and comments, or just rap about anime for half an hour like we did last night. Whichever.
You watch anime?
I don't. I was actually asking Satsu because the news was so thin last night as far as like interesting things to talk about. I was just like, I'm going to do an impromptu familiar with the matter. Hey, Satsu, explain the anime to me. And we had a little conversation about that. But yes, again, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, moderators, for keeping an eye on things. Even though everyone here is so well behaved, you have very little to do, and thankfully, no one died. Everybody who donated, thank you so much for your generosity. I really do appreciate it. What? Did you say something? Oh, okay. Well, again, Sinatra, thank you for joining me.
Again, thank you for having me.
Everybody, I hope you all have a good rest of your day. I hope you are all safe and well. If you're not well, please get well soon, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.
Later.